single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Everybody, so I put a poll on Instagram about doing a vlog of a day in the life of an equestrian diabetic, me, type 1, and a lot of people said yes, so we're gonna do it. This could be horrendous or really good, who knows, we'll see what happens. So basically I'm a type 1 diabetic. There's two types. The type 1 is your pancreas just doesn't work, it doesn't produce insulin. I inject myself personally 4 times a day. There's other people would inject more and less. There's other people that have it's called a pump, which is like a beeper type thing. It sits on your stomach the whole time and it reduces, what does it do? It kind of just gets rid of the injection part. I am a creature of habit, like my horse. I've injected since I was 2 and that's just what I wanted to do. They've suggested it numerous times in the hospital and I'm like, nah, it's fine, don't need it. And then type 2, how I would describe it, or the easiest way to describe it, is basically equine insulin resistance, but the human equivalent. So your body will still produce insulin, but just a less frequent amount. So if you eat, say, a bag of sweets, it'll only produce enough insulin to control half the bag rather than the whole bag. So you still need you could be on tablets to help combat this. A lot of it is diet and exercise and you can reduce it down. But for me it's 4 times a day with injections. One of them is a long lasting insulin, which is, that lighting's gone a bit funny, which is like what a normal person's body will produce, and it goes 24 hours and it's just steady in the background and that's fine. And then for breakfast, lunch and dinner I will take a fast acting insulin, which is when a normal person's body, I'm going to keep doing normal because who is normal, and a normal person's body will, that lighting is horrendous, there we go, a normal person's body will produce, there we go, there's Ness up there, Amy knows everything. Produce insulin when you've eaten something to keep your sugar levels at a steady balance. Now a normal person will be between 4 and 7 all the time. That's generally what I should be at as well. There are some days where it could be slightly higher or very high. Alcohol will skyrocket your sugar levels haywire and then drop them real quick. Which when they drop too low, which is generally when they go below 4, which is called a hypo. Now for me with a hypo, I will get disorientated. I feel like my head is here but my body's over there, nothing's making sense. I go very pale, I get stumbly over my words, more so than normal. I get shakes sometimes, depending on how low they go. Sometimes my lips go tingly, which is a very, very, very weird sensation, but that's what it does. And then that can be quite dangerous if you don't correct it quick enough. You can go into a diabetic coma, and well, it's not the May West. And then the other end of the scale is called a hyper, which, you eat too much sugar, you go bananas. So that again has consequences. You can go into something called ketone acidosis, which is basically there's too much sugar in your blood and it basically starts to poison you from the inside out, which again, not great either. And I've been rambling on for about 4 minutes. Who knew I could talk this much? So yeah, basically you'll have seen in a clip that I've put in before this is I get up in the morning, I do my sugars, I have a cup of tea, I then have to, depending on what I eat, I have to calculate my insulin. Now I've started on a new regime, it's called carb counting, so I count all the carbs I eat in a meal, and then I have a ratio of 1 unit of insulin to 3 grams of carbs at breakfast, 4 at lunch, and 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 at dinner, depending on what I eat. I've been on this for about 3 weeks. Thank you, Nessa. 3 weeks, and it's working out, you know, it's okay. I had a system before of, because I was diagnosed when I was 2, I knew no different, and it was exchanges in your food, and Mum had a list of all the foods, and say 2 potatoes equal this amount of insulin, and basically I was guesstimating of how much food I should eat or how much insulin I should take with the food I ate. Most of the time it worked. Some days it did not, and I would either be too high or too low, and the carb counting is kind of, it's making things more level. My sugar ratio, or not my sugar ratios, my averages of sugars, my little glucose monitor shows me the averages have come way down, which is helpful. So we'll see how it goes. I'll put in a bit about that at lunchtime. For now, we're on the way to Murphy. He is not really loving us at the minute, is he? Nope. Because the world's gone a bit mad with this coronavirus that lights around us again. We're basically going up every day. We're going up where our yard is quite small, which is fine. We're not really in contact with people. We're avoiding as much contact as possible. We've started walking just to get out of the air, because if we stay in the house, we're going to go mad and kill each other. Well, yes, yeah. Basically, so we go up, we do our bits. He goes, oh, here they come again. We go home, and we have lunch, and then we go for a walk. So I'll bring you with me. So I'm going to stop talking now, because I've been talking for 6 minutes, and I generally don't talk this much. So I will see you when we get to the yard. Can I say bye?
There's a piece of wire down there.
Oh. Hello, Murphy. You sleepies? The new shavings day. Oh dear. You look ever so tired, and you haven't even been ridden yet. Hello. Didn't mean to wake you. Right, yeah, we get our rug off. See what devastation lies underneath here. Just look at that back leg. Disgusting. Hello. Why are you putting your ears back? Oh. There we have it on. Oh, I know, it's awful. I'm so mean. I know. I'm such a bad mommy, aren't I? Making it work. talk about the gallops while I look for carrots so I can carrot stretch Murphy. Now where would they be? So yeah, enjoy this angle. This is beautiful. But yes, that was the first time I have done the gallops quicker than a walk and without Mam walking beside me, because as my name suggests, I am anxious. I don't like to go fast, don't like open spaces. It terrifies me. Now, in our last yard we had a gallop as well, and I was on it one time, kicked Murphy into canter, and we were cantering, that was fine, and then he took off at a gallop. I lost my stirrups, and that's just, it's been in my head ever since, and it just freaks me out. Other people have their freaky things. That's my freaky thing, speed. So now I found my carrots. I found my little friend. Come here, wanna say hi? Hello, little friend. My little friend. That's my wire. Hello, little friend. Now, I found carrots. I'm going to carrot stretch, go home, get some lunch, and go for a walk. Right, we've done our work. He's rugged up. He's had his carrots. He's looking for more food because he's a pig, aren't ya? So now we're gonna go home, get some lunch, and we're gonna go for a walk. So, you wanna say goodbye, Murphy? You don't care because you're eating. Right. But Murphy says goodbye for now. Right, kissy before I go. Mwah. You love me, really. Mwah. Right, goodbye, Moo Moo. See you at home. So I thought with this I'd actually put in a bit about how I was diagnosed. So I was 2 and 4 months when I was diagnosed with diabetes. At the time in Temple Street, I was the youngest ever to be diagnosed. That has all changed, but I'm holding on to the title. At the time, I was the youngest ever. I was also the worst dehydrated child they had seen, and it took 36 hours to rehydrate me. So it was due to no fault of my mother at all. My mother had me at the GP 4 different times, and she was just told, oh, it's terrible twos, they go off their food, it's this. So the generalized symptoms of diabetes are you're constantly thirsty and drinking. You constantly, due to the drinking, have to go to the toilet. You lose weight, and sometimes, depending on how high your sugars are, there's like a smell of pear drops or sweetness off your breath. And I had all of them, and also went off my food and just wanted to drink and drink and drink. So Mum brought me to the GP because I like my food. I was always a child that liked their food. I would eat a big bowl of stew to myself. There is video proof, isn't there, Mum? There's video proof. Cannot find it, but there's video proof. And 4 different times she was told, no, it's just terrible twos, she'll grow out of it, this, that and the other. And over a weekend I deteriorated, that's a word, rapidly.
Got worse.
I got worse. Yeah, rapidly. You're probably better off with this, telling this bit.
I had what a local GP thought was a stomach bug because you were vomiting. It actually transpired that you were vomiting because you were starting to develop ketoacidosis. So you're actually your body was starting to shut down because there was too much sugar in your system. So you ended up over a weekend, actually over the space of a couple of hours, going from being okay, stomach bug, thought we had, to critically ill in a matter of about 3 hours.
So
Ended up in intensive care.
Yeah.
Mother was questioned
because they thought they neglected me, basically, but they didn't. Putting that out there, they did not. No. She then went, after I was okay and came out of hospital, she went and at the GP, which I say fair play because he needed to, and moved GP to our now current one, and we've had no problems. But yeah, so it was, I I remember nothing of it. I was 2. I remember nothing at all. I was in intensive care for 3 days.
Yes.
3 days and on a ward for 2 weeks. And basically I was on the ward because Mum wouldn't inject me, and they wouldn't
I couldn't.
she couldn't inject me. Well, I suppose they gave, at the time, or I still think now, don't they?
Yeah.
They give you an orange to practice injecting with, because the orange has the skin of an orange has the same resistance as human skin when you're putting the needle in. And as Mum rightly said at the time to a nurse, an orange isn't going to scream at you and say, "Mammy, you're hurting me." Which, I mean, fair point. So what used to happen was Mum would gear herself up and go to do it, and then back out, and Dad would have to do it, and then Dad would have to run outside and have a smoke to calm himself down.
Okay.
Like, things are getting better. There's also more advances in reading your glucose. You'll see in the clips that I have a glucose monitor, so I have to prick my finger at least 5 times, if not 6 times a day. But there's ones now that it's like an implant and it goes on your arm. It's called a Libra Freestyle. Now I can't get it. Well, I can get it, but I have to pay €100 a month for the supply, and realistically I don't have €100 a month, so I'm fine with my free stuff. So because I have what's called a green book in Ireland, I get all my medication for free. I don't have to pay for it. I know there's certain bits I have to pay for. They discovered last year I had an underactive thyroid, so I'm now on L-Troxin to correct that. So I have to take 1 tablet once a day, but I have to pay for that. So that's the only thing I really have to pay for. My other, the glucose strips, the ketone strips, my insulins, there's stuff, it's called a glucogel. So if my sugars go too low and I can't take sugar or Lucozade, or there's new things called lift shots, so they're like a little bottle about this big, and there's 15 grams of fast acting glucose, and that should be enough to bring my sugars levels up if I go low. But if I'm that low that I can't take anything, swallow, ingest food, anything at all, there's glucogel, which you squeeze out the tube and rub it straight into your gums, so it goes right into your bloodstream really, really quickly. You can also use honey or jam as well, isn't there? Yeah, because it goes straight into your bloodstream and it brings your sugars back up. I've only ever had to use it once. Again, I don't remember. My grandfather, who has sadly passed away, had to literally grab my cheeks like this. That's a very flattering angle. Grab my cheeks because I wouldn't open my mouth, and he had to rub it in. And I still don't think he forgave himself for ever doing that. No. But that was the only time. There's also, if I'm really, really bad, what is the hypo kit?
Yeah.
And there's instructions in it, and there's 2 bits you mix together and you inject it straight into my thigh. But touch wood, we have never had to use it. Touch wood, never been back in hospital. Basically, most kids when they're diagnosed go back in the first couple of months. They're back in maybe twice. Never been back in, and this is down to this woman right here. She used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because that's when my sugars would go low. She'd set an alarm, wake up, check my sugars, and make sure I had some milk with sugar in it, and bring them back up. She still wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning, even though I'm now 25, but still wakes up 3 o'clock in the morning just in case. Thankfully I don't really go that low anymore during the night, which is always helpful. I've been rabbiting on now for about 10 minutes. It's going to be a great vlog, lads. I'll leave it here and come back to you, because the point is now that my brain has just gone.
Maybe your sugars are low.
They could be low, but I don't think so. Oh, actually, yeah, Murphy can tell when my sugars are low. There's an interesting fact of the day. I've been a couple of times. Now, there's most of the times I will recognise when I go low. There's sometimes I won't. For, say, if there's been a couple of lows in the week, I'll know the ones Monday to Wednesday, and say if I have one Friday, I won't really notice it. But Murphy always cops onto it. He generally, what'll happen is we're mid-work and he'll start to slow down. So we could be mid-canter and he'll go to trot, and then he'll go to walk, and then he'll stop and refuses to move. Like, I could pony club kick him until the cows come home and he will not move. And then when I stop, I realise, vision's a bit fuzzy. Maybe I'm low. Check my sugars. They're low. Take my Lucozade, wait 15 minutes, get back on, and away we go again. So I'd love to know what actually sets off that I'm low. Is it like a smell? Is it something in my body that just goes, you're not using your legs right, or you're not doing this right, or I may never know, but he's intuitive. Or if I'm on the ground, generally I get a headbutt to the back of the head, and it's a case of, sort yourself out, mother. But there's not really anything else. I think that's about it for now. I'll leave it here. I thought I'll strike me in a couple of minutes and I'll come back to you. Give me a minute. So I'm home, I've had lunch, and now I'm carb counting to try and figure out my insulin dosage. I need to write things down, otherwise it just doesn't make sense in my head. So because today I've had 35 grams of carbs, so I'm dividing that by 4 and I get 8.7, so that rounds up to 9. So I should, if I was staying inside, I'd get 9 units. So should I, now it's trying to figure out how much do I reduce it, because we're going walking. NASA. So discussion off camera, we've decided I should go 7 units of insulin, so. Sorry, I'm in need of tea. So my insulin is in a little pen like this. It actually looks like a fountain pen when you think about it. I put the needle on, like this, dial up the amount I need, and then inject myself, which you don't need to see, so bear with me. Right, we are off on a walk. I'm gonna leave this here because I don't really need to bring camera with me. You don't need to see the grounds of Malahide Castle. And I'll catch up with you later. Bye. So we're back for a walk. Dinner is on outside the kitchen. Mum is cooking. And so the rest of the evening I will be to check my sugars again, carb count, insulin, and edit this vlog. Sorry, I'm hearing dogs barking outside. I don't think there's anybody out there. I think it's a cat. So that's basically it. So I'm gonna end the vlog here. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I'll leave it in the link below, the description box below. So thanks guys. See you next time. Bye.